I didn't know, but I knew I wanted to be involved because I was newly retired. I'd need a job in Canada and I wanted to be a part of that. So I went back to school I wanted to get some more letters behind my name. I've joked so I could be taken seriously by the folks in sport and football. So I went and I did an MBA. I was very lucky. There's a program through the Canadian Olympic Committee that has a scholarship for a few athletes every year. So I could get into what was a program I definitely would not have been able to afford on my own. So I did an MBA for a year and a half, and I also got into one of the UEFA Academy programs. UEFA Academy has lots of great educational programs, and I was lucky to get into their UEFA Master for International Players, which was kind of a transition program they'd built, originally for men's footballers, but women are sneaking in there now. We had 5 out of the class of 30, so there's more every year. So for 18 months, I was just a full-time student, and everything I was learning on the business side in the MBA or on the football side through UEFA, I was applying to the Canadian landscape and saying, okay, if we're building a league, like, does this apply? What will work? Do we need to do this? What are the trends? All the individual projects I had to do in both school programs I was doing on the feasibility of women's pro soccer in Canada. So it was... Again, the timing was great that I could dive into these 2 programs and start educating myself. It gave me a really good excuse to talk to tons of people in women's football, in women's sport, in men's football, in like a really non-threatening way. Like, hey, will you talk to me? It's for school. Lots of people would. So that was my first step, just go out and learn as much as I could and talk to lots of people.
What was your focus through these years studying, knowing, because obviously the professionalism of Canada women's football is, I mean, it was there at one point and it didn't work out, and there's been that gap ever since. Obviously the NWSL is right next door and it's kind of a vast growing league. What was your main focus throughout your studies, knowing what you wanted to do? Like what was something that you had mentalized already, that this is what I'm going to do when I'm done with this? This is exactly what I'm doing this for.
Yeah, the goal was always figure out a way to get a league built in Canada, and then figure out exactly what that means. What's the best way to go about doing that? Is it a club in the NWSL? Is that how we do it? Is it a regional league that you start small and then grow? Is it a fully national league in a top tier professional league? So like I said, all my projects that I was doing was on the business case and the structure and the commercial model for women's pro soccer. And the more I learned, I mean, to